Well, hello. I'm Vanessa, and I'm here in Mental Arts with John Worthington. Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Having coffee, but I'm wonderful.
Oh, well, it's a great time to talk to you then.
Yep.
Coffee time.
Coffee time and I'm
Um,
wonderful.
so I hear that we're going to start a series of week seminars or workshops. I don't know what you call them. Starting tomorrow, and it's called a Dyad class. And for anybody that doesn't know what a Dyad is a relationship between two people
Mm-hmm.
and what you create, right? And
Right.
so. Um, some people think like, why should I take uh, this instead of going to counseling, for instance,
Hmm.
or um, they're fine in their relationship and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
why? What would you say for that? For those that still are like, I don't know if I should, or like we're
Well,
fine in
okay. Here's the
counseling.
thing.
What's the
I
difference?
okay. I certainly don't want to try to convince anybody that they should do anything. I mean, if they're fine how they are, God bless them. If they're going to counseling, well, God bless them too. This is way cheaper than counseling, and it works better probably. But to each his own. Everybody's got to do what they have to do. I'm not trying to convince anybody that they should take the class, but they should. But what the hell? If they can't figure that out for themselves, I can't help them with it, and neither can you. So the thing is that this is a class about what actually goes on between any two people, about how
Mm-hmm.
they actually create stuff, and it's not la la. Often in fantasy land, what it actually is pretty much based on not pretty much, it's based on scientific observation, fact, theory, etc. I mean, you can go through it and argue where you want to. I don't mind that you argue. If you come up with a good convincing argument, I'll change my mind even. So far, nobody's done that. I don't know why. I guess it's because
Mm-hmm.
they haven't found anything to argue with much. I mean, it's not they don't argue, but they haven't come up with anything that they could even show that I'm telling them stories, other than the things I tell about because it's. Well, you got to tell some stories, or you're boring, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not lying to people about what the observations are. I'm telling them look, this is an observation. Go check it out for yourself. I don't care. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
trying to convince you. If
So what
you're
are the
big enough to do it,
signs?
do it. Pardon?
What's the signs in a reality or that you should consider to like think, oh, you know what, I should, learn what I'm doing in my diet, because that's what you're doing. You're learning how to
Yeah.
you're learning how to have a diet,
Okay. So,
or what you're doing in a diet.
how secure are you in the relationship?
Okay.
Either side. Are you
Mm-hmm.
secure in that? Are you sure that you can trust the other person? Yeah. You got suspicions. What for? Why do you have suspicions? That's a sign. Um, do you fight a lot about the same stuff? Like, do you have a day that like on Thursday at 4, you get together and fight about something? Is that what you do? Uh, you know, I, that may be a sign that things aren't quite as nice as they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, do you think that you're better than the other person? That's a for sure sign that. Well, you spell that sign DIORVCE, etc. You're gonna get a divorce if you're doing that. But there's
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of things that are signs, and you know what they are. I mean, you might be
Mm-hmm.
all sure that you're good and everything, but even if you are, you mean you don't have room for improvement. Okay, then goddamn, you should be teaching this class, not me.
um
And I wish the hell you would too. That way I wouldn't feel the need and drive to have to do it. So you guys quit fighting with each other about silly stuff.
Mm-hmm. And this is not just for couples. I mean, it's for
No.
business owners, for moms and dads and kids
And kids and
and,
so forth. Yeah,
teachers and
what in the
everything.
what in the world's going on to find out what it? And it's like, don't tell me that you have a way to measure it. I never did. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like when I found out how to measure what a relationship was, I started measuring it, and it's like, look at that. I can see where the relationship is, rather than saying, well, the bitch is just doing this thing. Or the bitch is just that. That's just what she is. She's just a bitch. She bitches about everything. She wants to argue about everything. Well, that may or may not be true. That's what she wants to do. But do you know why she wants to? I mean, does she know why she wants to? What is it she's arguing about? Do you know? Does she know? I mean, can you guys actually slow down enough to find out? I mean, she's not just doing it for her health. She's doing it because something's bothering her. And are you arguing back with her? Then something's bothering you too. And so y'all just fine. It's okay with me. Can I sell the tickets? It sounds like it'd be fun to watch. I don't want to participate, but it'd be fun to watch and all fight about nothing. Maybe we can make this a sitcom.
Well, and I think that it's not only about fighting too, because people, like I know that that relationships fight and everything, but they also get along. And in that get along and stuff like that, it's like, and I think you've told us this before, is that it's like, okay, so it's not only to like understand why you're arguing, it's also to understand like what actually you're doing and to do it better, right?
Okay, there's a couple of parts to that one. Okay, one part of it is, there's that part of it. And then there's also the other part. Exactly why you're getting along. Are you just blowing off what it is that's pissing you off with her or him? Are you trying to be a good girl and make him happy? And is that what you call getting along? Okay, well, you can call it that. I call it dumb, but you can call it getting along from there. I don't mind. Again, may I sell the tickets? Not to. It's got to be entertaining. Can we film it? I mean, really, those kinds of things. I understand that they go on. I understand they're going on with people all the time. But don't tell me that you're going to fix it by going and talking to somebody and sitting there and listen and have him ask you questions about what it is you're doing without giving you some tools to do it with, or to fix it. And they're not going to do that in a counseling session. They're going to tell you to ask you to fix it yourself. And they're right about that. You're the only one who can fix it. Do you want to? Well, if you want to, then you want some tools that kind of give you a chance to getting it done. Well, then come to the class. It's easy. $35, you can afford that. It's cheaper than going to Arby's, or to
Denny's.
Denny's, Denny's maybe. Certainly not cheaper than going to McDonald's. If you take the kids in particular.
I know, and if they're starving after football practice or field hockey, you've never fed kids until you fed a whole team of field hockey girls. Those girls can eat. So you set up the class by reviewing quotes. What is it about the set of quotes that you particularly chosen for this that help people understand what they're doing?
Relationships have been around for quite a while, believe it or not. I mean, they have existed for a long time. And there have been observations about what existences are and what relationships are and what you do to maintain them and so forth, that some of them are really quite prescient. They're exactly right on. And so when you start putting these quotes together across the course of history, you start getting a pretty clear picture of what it is that you're trying to do, particularly if you have some tools to see what they're talking about. Not just saying, well, that sounds good. I think I'll tell the bitch that. Yeah, that doesn't work.
So you're saying that, so the relationships have been pure since, beginning
since Adam and Eve, apparently, yeah.
Adam and Eve, yep. And so, in the Dyad, we're shown or taught these tools, and they're in the quotes that you lay out to understand.
Well, they are okay. Yeah, they are in a way, but they're not clear in the quotes. Okay, in other words, the quote points at the tool, but the tools are not something that everybody has known about, and the biggest reason for that is that we haven't known about the brain acting like a computer all that long in the course of human history, As a matter of fact, we've only begun to realize that what a computer can do in the last 15, 20 years or so at the very most. I mean, when you were a kid, smartphones came out. I mean, that's happened in your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah,
And
it was the beginning of the computers,
right.
phones, cell phones.
Cell phones, smartphones, like you
Uh-huh.
you carry around with you all the time now. Okay. All right. So anyway, look. Even now that we have those that we carry around in our pocket, that we don't really think about how they relate to how our own thoughts work. We say, yeah, it's we have a computer in the brain, but I can't call anybody with it. I mean, because we think that it has to be able to connect to the internet to be worthwhile. Well, how did the internet get there?
Mm-hmm.
Why was it that Mark Zuckerberg needed to have that chick that helps him as the vice president of Facebook? Well, the reason is because as they worked together, they created Facebook as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've actually created that between them. Actors often create whole movies between them just because of the interaction between the two main protagonists. Particularly if one of them takes a more masculine role, and one of them takes a more feminine role. And feminine and masculine, I don't mean that one of them more macho and the other one's got big boobies. I don't mean that. Masculine is always form related, and feminine is always germinally related. Germinally means that ladies always think about growing things like children. Guys always think about the form of the house that their kids are going to live in and how to get them to school and what the form of the route is, or the map to get there, and all those kind of form-related things. Where ladies think about, this child has to have this thing in his life so he can develop properly. And ladies will water the plants, and the guys will say, it needs some fertilizer, maybe. Well, they will, okay. Guys will prune the plant, and ladies will say, "Oh, you're killing it! Don't do that to my poor planty wency. It's not going to grow right." It will, but you got to fix the form. See, so the two ideas have to exist at the same time. But if you don't know those things, well, you're going to make a mistake or two. You're going to think that if you don't know that you have to be separate, you're going to act like you need to be together, for instance, and you're not together. You're separate. You're two separate entities who happen to cohabitate. He said, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those are all things that are quotes in the class, but we on the background of how agreements are made and how programming works in the biocomputer and how a program is written for a couple as opposed to how it's written for a single individual. Well, those are things that you need as a background in order to understand what those quotes are really trying to say, even though somebody understood them years ago. They didn't have the structure to know how to define those things. And so we take a look at that part.
Okay.
Of course, if you're omniscient and you don't need that, then you don't. I'm not. Christ, go please.
Mm-hmm.
Show me how it's done.
So this 8 weeks is not just a sit and listen kind of class, right?
Oh no, I don't know I don't know what a sit and listen class is.
Okay.
I do know what it is. I've been in them and well, I've slept through a lot of them, I guess. But no, it's not. You really have to. You really have some work that you have to do as a couple, and there's several things that we're going to ask you to do, and we're going to make you talk about it too. We're going to say, okay, well, how come you didn't do that, or when you did that, why did you think about it this way rather than the way it was defined? What did you guys come up with? Okay, I see. Well, how about if you adjust that a little bit so it falls within this category? What would it be then? And so, see, we're not trying to say that you're right or wrong. We're just saying, okay, can you adjust what you're doing so it works better for you? How hard can that be, right? And how many people do you know that can ask you that question? How many people can ask you that without saying that you're wrong about something or the other? I don't know very many people who can do that. And so in this class, we don't assume that you're right or wrong. We just assume that you're a person. And that as people, that you're going to do all the people things, including the successes and the errors that you make. So what? I don't care if you make mistakes. I don't care if you're a success. Where you're a success, let's applaud. Where you fuck up, let's fix it so that we can applaud more. What the hell's the problem with that? That's going to hurt you somewhere or the other? Well, fuck you then. Excuse my French, but that's my attitude about it. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm trying to give people a hand. If they don't want to handle it, they don't need one. I don't want to help somebody who don't want to help themselves. Do you?
No, and so adding to this in our experience.
Let me explain it from another way. I grew up over in Muncie Valley. Okay, I grew over in Sullivan. I grew up over in Sullivan County on a farm. And you know what? I don't have a whole lot of room for impractical city-slicking people who think they know shit that they don't know, never have, and never will. Now, I'm not mad at them or nothing. They're entertaining as hell. They are. They're entertaining. I wish I could sell tickets for all the stupid things I've seen people do that just because they're not practical. I'm not mad at them about it. I don't think they're wrong. I don't think they're going to hell. I'm not trying to convince them to do something else. I wish they keep on doing what they're doing because they're better than TV.
The reality show.
Yeah, well, it is a reality show, but see that comes from being a country bumpkin. I'm a redneck that said, look, the way that people are talking about getting this stuff done doesn't make any sense, not to me. And so if it makes sense to you, for heaven's sakes, please do it. Please. If you're fucking up, though, why can't you admit that? How hard can that be? When you tear up a piece of equipment, and you go get it welded, do you say, "Well, it just happened," or do you say, "Well, you know what? I caught a fence post and I broke the hell out of this mower bar, or this cutter bar, and I tore it all to hell. So I got to put it back, but I got to put it back stronger so maybe it can break away the next time because." I'm just going to hit that fence post again, just as sure as God made little green apples. And if I don't, Dad will. So we got to fix it. Yeah. So. That's the thing. I don't mind that you screw it up, but let's admit that you screwed up and fix it so that it works. But let's fix it better than what it was. Let's not go back and say, well, let's just start over from right where we started before. No, let's start over from a different place so it works this time. How about that? You got to know where you're going, or else any road will get you there. And so that's what part of this class is about. Where are you going? It's for you to define where you're going as a couple, not as you and you, but you and you as a couple. Where are you going together? And what are you doing when you get there? Well, I know you're doing that. I'm talking. There's other things that you can do, though. So
one of the things that is always in your experiences of doing these classes.
Yeah.
Where would you say that couples or business partners, relationships of all kinds, where do you think they're shooting themselves in the foot, and where does exactly this dyad class help them get back on there?
Well, when you shoot yourself in the foot, you've got a foot wound for a while. Okay, that's
or
for starters.
Bruise,
well, it's going to hurt you, and you're going every time you take a step, it's going to hurt. And so it's probably best to take to either learn how to shoot right or take the gun away from you. But where they do it is this, mostly. Okay, that's not the only place that people do it, but these are pretty common. One of them is that one or both of the people deal with themselves as if they are physical entities. Ladies do this. Ladies catch crap for it because they put on their makeup and they wear their sexy clothes and then pretend like that you're not supposed to look at their boobs when they're showing them to you, and they don't mind that you check out their butt, but you can't stare. You just say, "Oh, that's nice," and look somewhere else, right? Like as if you're not saying something else while you're looking at it. But okay, they're not just that. They're not just their butts and their boobs and their waist and their good looks and their makeup and their hair color. No, no. That's how you present who you are, maybe, but that's not who you are. Who you are is the one that's doing all of that. And that who you are probably isn't even physical. It may not even be mental. It may be spiritual, actually. And if it were and you thought it was just a physical event, you think you might be missing something with what you're trying to say to yourself and to other people. Maybe. Now, in a relationship where the guy agrees with you and he combs his hair as carefully as you do, and he's as much of a fashion plate as you are, everything should be hunky dory. I mean, it won't last forever, but because you get older. But the thing is that you're going to get along for quite some period of time. Maybe to the point that you get past all that crap. I don't know. I've seen that happen with people. But when they come to, or when they're in a class where they shoot themselves in the foot, is because one of them thinks one or both of them think that they're just a physical entity. They're not. They are a physical entity, they're a mental entity, and they're a spiritual entity all at the same time. But generally speaking, we just say physical and spiritual. Both of those are at one time. They're both true. And we don't pay attention to that. We don't have a way to. The other problem is that instead of paying attention to programming, they pay attention to morality. Now, don't misunderstand here. Morality has a place, and it's a very important place in society. It is. However, morality is not a substitution for knowledge. It can't be. It shouldn't be. And it's not. Because what happens to us is we get to this place where we think that that we can decide things based on our moral judgments. And I don't necessarily mean because we have a morality like we're Claire Shug or we're some well-meaning person from from some church group that says that they know better than you do about what you're supposed to be doing. Not that kind of morality. The kind of morality I'm talking about is what you think is right, and you've never really examined. That's morality. Now, you need to have that. You need to have what you think is right. You need to follow that. There's no doubt about it. But you also need to know why you're doing it. And don't tell me that you did it because you went to church, or that if you haven't stopped to say, okay, what is it? What do I accomplish with this moral judgment that I'm making? Then you haven't thought about it yet, and you don't know why you're doing it. Again, you're not alone. I mean, I see it everywhere, but I can't be judgmental about it myself either. I'd be as goofily moral as anybody else, and I just can't do that. The thing is that it's a program that we have, or a habit which we have, and we don't know how to undo it because we don't know how the program works exactly. We haven't had enough time to look at that yet in our life. So if we can take a few minutes and begin to examine that, we'll figure it out. We're all pretty smart people. Christ, if I can figure it out, other people can figure it out. And you can probably figure it out better than I did. At least I can tell you where I fucked it up, where I thought I understood it and didn't. Okay, that should help you out. That should save you some time, so you don't have to go make the same stupid mistake. The mistakes I've made some mistakes, and they weren't smart. They were dumb as a rock. Or I'm pretty hard-headed, so why shouldn't they be that dumb? They were. And big deal. Anybody can do that. It doesn't take any skill to be a dumb fuck. Just none. Same thing. It doesn't take any skill at all to argue with somebody. No skill. To pick an agreement and keep that agreement for 20 years, that's a skill set. Now, can you do that one? If you can't, then you really need to come to class. You need to figure out how to do it, because you're going to be with that person for at least 20 years. You got kids, don't you? Then you're going to be together for quite a while over those kids. So you ought to be able to get along with each other, guys. Just saying. If you don't want to, I'll sell. Like I said, I'll sell the tickets.
Front row seats.
Yep. Well, not everybody can afford the front row seats, but some of them have to get the cheap seats away in the back.
I guess you whoever gets here in line, right?
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much, John. I think that covers a little bit of more what we're going to be talking about starting tomorrow.
Probably
And
so.
we'll be sending out a link, and Vicente will send us the Zoom things and everything. He's an expert at that. So, how about those apples?
Well, they're not. Are they Macintosh or are they IBM?
They're gala.
They're Gala. Well,
Yeah.
Gala Wowzers. Okay. I'm good with that. Uh,
Okay.
and we'll even invite Granny Smith. How's that?
Okay.
It'd be
You
delicious,
got the
right?
cookies?
Yeah, I
She the
do.
cookies?
I had the oatmeal ones.
Oh, okay. I like the chocolate chip ones from her.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. I know how to do those.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I still
But
don't know how to do chewy cookies.
yeah.
I can
Well,
barely make the other ones. They're hard as a rock, but they get eaten with a lot of milk.
yeah, I understand. It's a way to trick kids into eating milk or drinking milk. I got it. But then what
I don't
happens?
trick them.
It backfires and you end up with a Joshua.
Yeah, 6 feet tall and size 12 in shoes.
And he's still a growing young man. That's right. He's still a baby,
Yeah,
a big baby,
he
but
is.
he's still a baby. He ain't grown yet.
No, he isn't, but he's trying to.
Well, he's going to get
He's
there.
getting there.
Yeah, he watch out. I'm telling you.
He's getting there.
Hmm. Okay, kid.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you so much, and have a great day. And thank you guys
I
for
pr-
listening to us. And I will talk to you soon.
Okay. Behave
Okay,
yourself.
okay.
And if you don't behave yourself, well, you can send me. Oh no, you better not send me
I
pictures.
do
I'd be
send you
embarrassed.
pictures though, and so
Yeah, but not for you being not misbehaving. You'll send me
I'm
about
sending
about
you.
it.
No, I send you the pictures of the kids misbehaving because that's cute of them misbehaving.
Well, see,
I'm already old.
but you forget that
It's
you're
not cute
to
anymore.
me, not to me. To me, you're still a kid.
Okay, that's true.
Okay.
Okay.
Cheers.
Okay. Well, we
See you
will
later,
talk
kid. Bye.
soon. Bye.